Welcome back to our panel discussion, The Future of IT, How CIOs Can Enable the Service-Oriented Enterprise. It's sponsored by ServiceNow on Federal News Radio 1500 AM and federalnewsradio.com. Our guests today are John Edgar, the Vice President of IT at the U.S. Postal Service, retired Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence, Senior Vice President of Booz Allen Hamilton, Steve Alfieris, Vice President of Federal for ServiceNow, and Don Adcock, the Deputy CIO of the Energy Department. And in this segment, I'd like to get into what's coming up in terms of IT innovation, big projects for different agencies. And there's so many things we can talk about: application development, mobile application development, and mobility, and many other things. So, Susan, why don't we start with you? What do you see ahead in the Army, and maybe some of the things that, without naming the clients,
Sure.
you see going on?
Absolutely. Thank you. The way ahead is really bright. We're kind of beyond the first adopters as we move forward in this service-oriented architecture, where we're getting much more mature. We're understanding that what brings to bear in delivering that first-class service is everything as a service, and going to that mentality. And things that we're looking at, for example, in Booz Allen, is virtualization and migration as a service, software as a service, and those different things. Enterprise service management as a service is a key one that we're working with ServiceNow as we go forward on that. So what does that bring? And I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but that brings to bear the goodness of cloud delivery brokers as we move forward in making sure that as our clients have any kind of a business mission or an operational mission, that they have that access to their data immediately. And that's what we're looking for, which includes finding those key mobile solutions as well. If I look across the different clients that we support, and that's probably one of their number one requirements, the ability to be mobile. Access what they need to access from any location based on what they're doing at the time. And when you look at our young children today and those folks, they're tied to that device and they can get to their access and talk to their friends and do whatever they need to do. Well, to make that happen and to uncumber the many things that we're doing is to get to that single service-oriented architecture that I talked about earlier to be able to do that. Something that we're doing in Booz Allen is I just stood up an IT Enterprise Solution Forum, and what we're doing is bringing business best practices from different partners across the department and inside the commercial world. And how can we then translate that without having to reinvent the wheel every time? And that's another beauty of the product that we're working with now, is the ease to be able to adjust and add it to the upfront service catalog that we've talked about as a capability that someone may need.
All right. And John, at the Postal Service, tell us some of the innovations, new projects you're planning, and how the whole service-oriented architecture applies to that.
So when the Postal Service today is obviously going through, continuing to go through a lot of efficiency modernizations and things to try to address our financial situations at the moment. We have a program internally. Exactly, exactly. We have a program internally called DRIVE that stands for Delivering Results, Innovation, Value, and Efficiency, and that really is our C-level strategic program that sets all the top organizational priorities. So within IT, we're looking to provide the capabilities that we have to do to support all those different initiatives, support the different lines of business and their missions, and help them do their jobs more effectively. So from within what we're delivering out of IT, the whole IT as a service model, and being able to implement our services as simply, as efficiently as possible, and deliver that to the roughly 450,000 employees we have in a very clear manner, and allow them to do their jobs more effectively, is really the root of everything that we're doing. Moving to platforms like this are ways that we've been able to enable that initial benefit to the end users. We just started last week. We moved our entire IT service desk onto ServiceNow as our base platform, and from that we're already seeing tremendous gains in efficiency of our people in terms of them being able to take trouble calls from the end users, and the faster they can resolve those, gets people back to work faster, and again helps the bottom line of the entire organization.
And on that platform, is there also self-help, like forums
Yes.
and that kind of thing, where maybe the service desk doesn't have to answer where's the off and on switch?
Absolutely. We have our what we call our IT self-help system in there as well for people to be able to look up their own problems, look up how to acquire different functions, and solve their own problems as well. So yeah, it's all built into that. And from here, we'll be implementing very shortly, moving our change management process, all those core IT service management functions, really totally modernizing that, providing a better experience for our IT users of the system, and then allow them to do a better job supporting our business customers in the organization. And that's not just postal people. For the Postal Service, we partner with tens of thousands of external customers, and we want to be able to provide the same kind of efficient, clear, well-defined services to them, just as we're trying to do internally. So it becomes a platform to build upon for all those things.
Okay, and Don, at Energy, I understand things are cooking.
Yeah, they are. So I have 4 quick things I'll talk about. One, sort of the fundamental underpinning or very important for us to do to try to execute and deliver on some of the other things that we're working on is really to work through enterprise access management or identity management capabilities. The CIO, Bob Rees, and I are very focused on working through that. And getting the identity management components put in place. It's really going to be critical when we start trying to move to more robust capabilities that allow our end users to access their data anytime, any place, anywhere, especially in things like mobility or through virtual desktop implementations and things like that. To have credentialing worked out and identity management worked out is really important.
So what is delivered there? I mean, they know who they are. What do they get?
So identity management brings to the end user things like single sign-on capabilities and quicker access to enterprise resourcing and things like that. So on the end user side, they're getting better, faster, reliable access to the data and the capabilities that they need. Probably not so apparent to them. They're also getting the enhanced security that comes along with having positive identification of who's on your network and who's authenticating to author documents and make changes and things like that. So all of the second and third attributes that they may not readily understand come along with that identity management capability.
And they don't have to see those.
Correct. But they can then rest assured that what they're getting is the authentic and document or piece of data or piece of research or something like that. It's really important when you go on to the next part of that, which is mobility, because we need to have that worked out as we move into mobility and we're able to deliver mobile capabilities across the energy department. The other 2 that I'll mention really, really quick that's really exciting and pretty much first heard here is later this year, probably late September timeframe, we're going to use crowdsourcing. And we use crowdsourcing at the department quite extensively, and we've done it to engage with the American public on many fronts, especially under the Energy Data Challenge, Americans Energy Data Challenge that we have. But we're also going to use crowdsourcing to get our IT folks to team up with their mission partners and really take the ServiceNow tool and find a non-traditional way to use the IT investment as traditional ITSM tool and find some mission-specific way to foster and enhance the mission. We're going to use crowdsourcing so that we put it out there and get the best of the mission partners and the IT departments to come together and come up with brilliant ideas that they can then put into either mobile apps or any other kind of application platform that they want. We'll have late in the year a contest where we take them probably over 3 categories: energy science and nuclear security. We'll have a winner for each, and then we hope to submit those as candidates for Innovation of the Year and Knowledge 15 next year for ServiceNow. And then just real quick on the last one, later this year, Bob and I have been very, very interested in setting up a capability at the senior executive level or the associate CIO level within the department that's clearly focused on customer engagement and service delivery. So their whole mission of the organization as we build it out will be looking at our service delivery model and using the ServiceNow tools. We call the tool within DOE DAYS, but using that DAYS capability to sort of look at troubleshooting and problems and analysis and trend analysis to find out, what are we doing, what's going right, what's going wrong, and then how do we actually fix that.
Well, that is exciting, and glad you could announce it right here for us first.
Very good.
And Steve, I have a detail question for you and then a bigger question. The detail question is, we've heard a lot about mobile and mobility deployment. That's devices and applications and so forth, operating systems. And there's a class of product, mobile device management, which is coming into vogue, and a lot of agencies are using that. But it seems like the service management is something that would supersede the MDM, because it would incorporate everything MDM is trying to do in terms of provisioning and self-service. So how does ServiceNow, how does that type of product relate to and integrate with mobile device management?
Well, Tom, that's a great question. One of the inherent benefits of our platform is that everything's accessed via a Web 2.0 interface. So you have a Web 2.0 browser that you can interface with the platform. The platform comes inherent with an embedded mobile capability that is form-driven. So whatever your form structure looks like and the way that you deliver your service management pane, if you will, your user interface, will be represented on any tablet, any mobile device you happen to use. So that's inherent in the product. So there's not an extra layer of app development work to do that. So that will add to the MDM story and the MDM dynamic. I don't think it's a replacement for MDM, but it's certainly an enabler for MDM.
And I guess the bigger question is, what we've heard is that almost no agency is planning any kind of major deployment or initiative without the service model as part of the basic planning. Is that what you're seeing?
That is what we're seeing, exactly, yes. And so for our ServiceNow customers, there's a lot of dialogue going around the benefit of the mobility component of it, but it really all comes back to the service, the enterprise service model you're looking to build. And it relates to exactly what you want to provision for a prospective user as it relates to the mobile capability.
And one of the big trends, I think Susan alluded to this in some detail, is enterprise service management as a service, software as a service. We all know about that, infrastructure as a service, which is cloud. And so, but that brings in different elements than the stuff you can touch and feel. So how does that work into the whole service management framework, if you will? Susan?
What we're finding is that it simplifies very decentralized, costly solutions that we have had in the past, and be able to, for example, data center consolidation. The Army led the way in OMB in closing data centers, but we didn't get the maximum cost savings we could have gotten versus going through application rationalization, doing virtualization of the data versus moving the servers, if you will. And so the business case there is very solid in being able to do common services like that as we move forward.
Okay, and what about software development? Say, if you're not going to buy software as a service, but
Right.
there's still a need to develop applications by the federal government. What do you see there?
Absolutely.
And how that can be revved up, maybe.
It absolutely can, and in fact, that's one of the initiatives inside Booz Allen. One of the three major initiatives that we're going after is the software development, and finding those solutions that walk away from the hardware solutions where you are human capital is high in maintaining the life cycle replacement that you're working through it, versus getting to the application widget environment and being able to allow the client to select what's right for them, not what's right for the many. And that's where you'll gain your efficiencies, your effectiveness, as well as improving some of your security.
And Steve, comment?
Yeah, so in line with exactly what Susan's saying, one of the things at ServiceNow that we've done is we've actually created a community site for all of our users. It's called Share. And so every customer has an opportunity to share some code or a solution that they've developed and put it into a share portal. And any customer globally can take a look at what the description of that particular solution is, map it against a requirement they may have, and that code is already, that scripting has already been done, the code's already been developed. All they need to do is really download it. Now, for government customers, you may have to go through the extra step of actually reconstituting that code based on, you know, your security posture. But we actually have a couple of our intelligence customers that have gone out to the share site, found some code, found a solution to a problem that they were having, and instead of developing something from scratch, they downloaded the code, and they were able to reconstitute it in a matter of days versus months and or years with high cost. So that's just one way that I think that we're enabling that sharing capability and the repurposing of already developed solutions.
Okay, and John, maybe a little follow-up on to focus in a little bit on software, however it is developed or consumed at Postal.
I think the link between mobile and the application development is a great one. So, as we're starting to look at the applications that we need to be providing to our end users today, really looking from a mobile-first standpoint is critical. As we're trying to get the efficiencies in the organization, you want to get the plant supervisors or the delivery supervisors out from behind a desk. You want them out on the plant floor working with their mail carriers. So we need to be providing mobile solutions and mobile devices to them where they can access everything they need to, or any data they may need, give them the improved analytics that we're providing so that they can look at real-time situations, solve them in real time, and get the efficiencies in the organization. So a platform like ServiceNow, we're able to build that very quickly, have it highly integrated into the service management functions just as part of the base process without a lot of custom development and scripting, really brings tremendous velocity and speed to market to get those things out to our end users. And the faster we can get it to them, the faster we start the savings.
All right, and on that note, we're going to take a short break. Our guests today are Don Adcock, Deputy CIO of the Energy Department, John Edgar, Vice President of IT at the U.S. Postal Service, retired Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence, Senior Vice President at Booz Allen Hamilton, and Steve Alfieris, the Vice President for Federal at ServiceNow. I'm your moderator, Tom Temin. This is a panel discussion, The Future of IT, How CIOs Can Enable the Service-Oriented Enterprise, sponsored by ServiceNow, here on federalnewsradio.com and 1500 AM.